Welcome to the Old Coins Explorer. What if the loose change in your pocket is secretly worth a fortune? From the iconic Washington quarter to rare error coins hiding in plain sight, these everyday pieces could carry unbelievable value. Some coins, struck with tiny minting mistakes or preserved in flawless condition, have shocked collectors with their hidden worth. Before you spend that ordinary-looking coin, take a closer look, because one small detail could turn it into a life-changing discovery. First up, listen carefully, because what you're about to hear might completely change the way you look at an ordinary 25-cent coin forever. The 1988 Washington quarter may seem like just another everyday coin hiding in your pocket, but under the right conditions, this small piece of metal can turn into something far more valuable than most people ever imagine. Not every 1988 quarter is special, but the rare ones, they carry a hidden story, a silent power that collectors are always hunting for. The Washington Quarter series itself has been around since 1932, created to honor George Washington. By 1988, these coins were being mass-produced for circulation, meaning millions were made. At first glance, that sounds like it would make them worthless. But here's the twist. When a coin is produced in such huge numbers, even the tiniest mistake during minting can create a rare variation, and that's where the real money begins. Now, let's talk about what makes a 1988 Washington quarter valuable. The majority of these coins are only worth their face value, just 25 cents. But certain rare versions, especially those with minting errors or in near-perfect condition, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And in extremely rare cases, highly graded coins with unique errors have reached astonishing prices at auctions. One of the most important factors is the mint mark. In 1988, quarters were minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. The San Francisco coins were usually proof coins, specially made for collectors. These proof coins, especially if they're flawless, can be quite valuable. But even among the Philadelphia and Denver coins, some rare errors can transform an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Condition plays a massive role. A coin that looks brand new, no scratches, no wear, full original shine, is considered mint state. Coins graded MS 65, MS 67, or higher are incredibly desirable. A 1988 quarter in MS 67 condition, for example, is extremely rare because most coins from circulation get worn down over time. That rarity pushes the value higher and higher. But here's where things get really exciting: minting errors. These are the true hidden treasures. A 1988 quarter with a double die error, where the design appears slightly duplicated, can be worth far more than a normal coin. Off-center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned, also attract serious attention from collectors. Even small details like missing letters or unusual textures can dramatically increase value. There's also something called a clipped planchet, where part of the coin is missing due to a cutting error during production. These coins look unusual and are instantly noticeable. Collectors love these kinds of imperfections because they are rare and impossible to replicate intentionally. If you ever find a 1988 quarter that looks strange, don't ignore it. It could be worth far more than you think. Another important aspect is the proof coins from San Francisco. These coins have a mirror-like finish and sharp details. Some 1988 S proof quarters, especially those graded PR 69 or PR 70, can fetch impressive prices. A perfect PR 70 coin is extremely rare because even the smallest flaw can lower the grade. That's why collectors are willing to pay premium amounts for perfection. Now, let's address the big question. Can a 1988 Washington quarter really make you a millionaire overnight? The honest answer is extremely unlikely. There are no confirmed cases of a 1988 quarter selling for millions of dollars. However, rare coins from other years have reached such values, which is why the dream continues. What makes the 1988 quarter exciting is not guaranteed millions, but the possibility of finding something rare and valuable hidden in plain sight. Still, even if it doesn't make you a billionaire, finding a rare 1988 quarter worth hundreds or thousands of dollars is very real. And that's what makes coin collecting so thrilling. Every coin you check could be the one. Every detail matters: the shine, the weight, the alignment, the tiny marks that most people ignore. If you want to check your coin, start by examining it under good lighting. Look closely at the date, the edges, and the surface. Use a magnifying glass if possible. Compare it with images of known error coins. And most importantly, never clean the coin. Cleaning can damage the surface and reduce its value significantly. Collectors and grading companies are always looking for rare pieces. If you believe your coin is special, getting it professionally graded can reveal its true worth. Sometimes a coin that looks ordinary to you might be something extraordinary in the eyes of an expert. What makes the 1988 Washington quarter so fascinating is not just its value, but the mystery surrounding it. Millions of people have handled these coins without realizing what they might be holding. Somewhere out there, a rare piece is still waiting to be discovered, maybe in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or even your own pocket. So next time you come across a 1988 quarter, don't spend it without a second thought. Take a moment, look closer, because hidden within that small, ordinary coin could be a story, a rarity, and a value that most people will never notice. And sometimes, it's those overlooked details that hold the greatest surprises. Second up, listen closely, because this is one of those moments where something small and ordinary can carry a story far bigger than its size. The 1985 Washington quarter might look like just another coin you'd casually spend without thinking, but under the right circumstances, it can hold surprising value. Not every 1985 quarter is special, but the rare ones, the ones with the right condition, the right strike, or the right mistake, can become something collectors chase with serious money. The Washington quarter design itself had already been around for decades by 1985, originally introduced to honor George Washington. By the mid-1980s, these coins were being produced in massive numbers for everyday use. Millions entered circulation, passing through countless hands. Because of that, most of them became worn, scratched, and ordinary. But hidden among those millions are a few pieces that stand apart, and that's where the excitement begins. In 1985, quarters were minted mainly in Philadelphia and Denver, with San Francisco producing proof versions for collectors. At first glance, there's nothing dramatic about that, but each mint has its own characteristics, and small differences during production can create rare variations. A tiny shift in pressure, alignment, or die condition can turn a normal coin into something collectors will pay a premium for. Condition is one of the biggest factors that determines value. A coin that looks freshly made, with strong shine and no visible wear, is far more valuable than one that has been used for years. These high-quality coins are graded on a scale, and the higher the grade, the rarer the coin becomes. A 1985 quarter in near-perfect condition, especially one graded at the very top levels, is extremely hard to find, and that rarity is what drives its price upward. Now here's where things start to get interesting. Mint errors are the real hidden treasures. During the minting process, mistakes can happen, sometimes subtle, sometimes obvious. A double design, where the image appears slightly duplicated, can increase the coin's value dramatically. Off-center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned, also catch the attention of collectors. These are not flaws in the usual sense. They are rare features that make the coin unique. Another type of error that can boost value is a clipped planchet, where part of the coin is missing due to a cutting issue before the coin was struck. These coins look unusual and are easy to spot once you know what to look for, because they are so different from standard coins. Collectors often see them as special pieces worth adding to their collections. Proof coins from San Francisco are a completely different category. These coins were not meant for circulation. They were carefully struck with extra detail, giving them a mirror-like surface and sharp design. A 1985 S-proof quarter in flawless condition can be quite valuable, especially if it's been preserved perfectly since the day it was made. Perfection is rare, and collectors are willing to pay for it. Let's talk honestly about value. Most 1985 quarters are still worth only their face value, just 25 cents. But high-grade examples and coins with clear, desirable errors can sell for much more, sometimes reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The idea of a 1985 quarter being worth millions is more of a dream than a reality. But that doesn't mean these coins can't hold meaningful value. What makes this coin fascinating is the possibility. You never really know what you have until you take a closer look. A coin that seems ordinary at first could turn out to be something rare when examined carefully. That sense of discovery is what keeps collectors searching through rolls of coins and old collections, hoping to find that one special piece. If you have a 1985 quarter, the first step is to look at it closely. Check the surface, the edges, and the details of the design. Look for anything unusual, extra lines, missing elements, or strange shapes. Even small differences can matter. Using a magnifying glass can reveal details that are invisible to the naked eye. It's also important to avoid cleaning the coin. Many people think cleaning will make a coin more valuable, but it actually does the opposite. Cleaning can damage the original surface and reduce the coin's appeal to collectors. Keeping the coin in its natural state is always the better choice. For those who believe they might have something special, professional grading is the next step. Experts can evaluate the coin's condition and confirm whether it has any rare features. Sometimes a coin that looks normal can turn out to be quite valuable once it is properly assessed. The story of a 1985 Washington quarter is not about guaranteed wealth. It's about hidden potential. It's about the idea that something small and overlooked can carry unexpected worth. That's what makes coin collecting so addictive and exciting. Every coin holds a possibility, even if only a few turn out to be truly rare. So before you spend that 1985 quarter without thinking, take a moment to really look at it. Turn it in your hand, study its details, and consider what it might be. Because while most are ordinary, a rare few carry a value that goes far beyond 25 cents. And those are the ones that make all the difference. Third up, listen carefully, because this is where reality and excitement collide. The 1992 Washington quarter looks like a simple 25-cent coin, something people spend every day without thinking twice. But hidden inside this ordinary piece of metal is a story of rarity, condition, and small details that can turn it from pocket change into something collectors truly desire. Not every 1992 quarter is valuable, but the right one, in the right condition, can surprise you. The Washington quarter design had already been a long-standing symbol in American coinage by 1992, carrying the image of George Washington with pride. Millions of these coins were produced that year, flowing through banks, shops, and people's hands. Because of this huge production, most 1992 quarters today are still very common and only worth their face value. But the story doesn't end there, because within those millions, a few special coins quietly stand out. In 1992, three main types of quarters were made: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. The San Francisco Mint created special proof coins, including a unique version made with real silver. This was actually the first time since the 1960s that silver quarters returned, but only for collectors, not circulation. That single detail already separates ordinary coins from collectible ones. U.S. Coins Guide. Now here's where the value starts to rise. A regular 1992 quarter that has been used in daily life is usually worth just 25 cents. But if the coin is uncirculated, meaning it was never used and still looks fresh, it can be worth more. High-grade coins, especially those with near-perfect surfaces, can reach dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of dollars depending on how flawless they are. Coin identifier. Condition is everything. Imagine two identical coins, one scratched and worn, the other shining like it just left the mint. The second one instantly becomes rarer because so few survive in that state. That's why collectors compete for coins graded at the highest levels. A top condition 1992 quarter can reach values far beyond what most people expect from such a modern coin. Coin identifier. But the real thrill comes from mint errors. These are the hidden secrets inside the coin world. A 1992 quarter struck slightly off-center, where the design is misaligned, can become highly collectible. Some of these have sold for over $150 or more, depending on how dramatic the error is. Even small mistakes like cracks in the die or unusual marks can increase value significantly. U.S. Coins Guide. There are also coins known as broad strikes, where the coin was struck without the proper collar, making it slightly wider and missing the usual edge lines. These unusual coins can attract collectors and bring in higher prices than normal pieces. What looks like a flaw to an ordinary person can actually be a treasure in the coin world. U.S. Coins Guide. Another fascinating version is the 1992 S Silver Proof Quarter. Unlike standard coins made from copper nickel, this one contains real silver, making it heavier and more valuable by material alone. These coins were never meant to circulate, so finding one outside a collection is rare. Even in average proof condition, they can sell for more than regular quarters simply because of their silver content. Rarest.org. Now let's address the big dream, the idea of becoming a millionaire overnight. The truth is important. There are no widely confirmed cases of a 1992 Washington quarter selling for millions of dollars. Most high-end examples reach into the hundreds or thousands, not millions. Some rare modern coins can go extremely high, but the 1992 quarter is not known as a million-dollar coin. However, that doesn't mean it's worthless. In fact, some top-grade 1992 quarters have reached values in the thousands of dollars at auction when they are nearly perfect. That alone makes them exciting, because finding one in everyday life is extremely rare. Coin identifier. What makes this coin powerful is the possibility. Every 1992 quarter you find carries a tiny chance of being special. Most people ignore coins completely, which is why valuable ones can still be discovered in jars, drawers, or old collections. The difference between an ordinary coin and a valuable one often comes down to details that most people never notice. If you have a 1992 quarter, don't rush to spend it. Look at it carefully. Check the mint mark. Examine the surface, and search for anything unusual. Use light, use magnification, and take your time. A small detail could completely change its value. And remember one crucial rule: never clean your coin. Cleaning removes a natural surface and can destroy its collector value instantly. Even if the coin looks dirty, that natural look is part of what collectors want. The journey of a 1992 Washington quarter is not about guaranteed wealth. It's about hidden opportunity. It's about understanding that even in a modern coin, rarity can exist. A single mistake at the mint, a perfectly preserved surface, or a special composition can transform something ordinary into something meaningful. So the next time a 1992 quarter lands in your hand, pause for a second. Look beyond its face value. Because while most are just coins, a few carry a quiet story of rarity, precision, and hidden worth. And those are the ones that can truly change how you see money forever. Fourth up, listen carefully. Because sometimes the smallest, most ordinary-looking coin can carry a story that feels almost unbelievable. The 1980 Washington quarter is one of those coins. At first glance, it's just a simple 25-cent piece, something people spend without a second thought. But hidden beneath that everyday appearance is a world of rarity, condition, and subtle details that can turn it into something collectors are willing to pay serious money for. By 1980, the Washington quarter had already become a familiar part of daily life in the United States. The design honoring George Washington had been in use for decades, and millions of coins were being produced every year. That year, quarters came from Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of them were made for circulation, while the San Francisco Mint focused on proof coins created specifically for collectors. On the surface, nothing about 1980 seems extraordinary, but the real story lies in exceptions. The truth is simple. Most 1980 quarters are only worth their face value. They've been used, worn down, scratched, and passed through countless hands. But every once in a while, a coin survives in an almost perfect state. These are the coins that change everything. A 1980 quarter with sharp details, full shine, and no visible damage becomes rare instantly because so few remain in that condition after decades. Condition is one of the strongest drivers of value. Coins are graded on a scale, and the higher the grade, the more desirable the coin becomes. A 1980 quarter graded at the very top levels, nearly flawless, can reach values far beyond what most people expect. These coins are not easy to find, and that scarcity is what makes collectors compete for them. But the real excitement begins when you look at mint errors. These are the hidden treasures of the coin world. During the minting process, even a small mistake can create something unique. A double die error, where the design appears slightly duplicated, can turn a normal coin into a valuable collectible. These errors are not common, which is exactly why they are so desirable. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. Imagine a coin where the design is shifted to one side, leaving part of it blank. To most people, it might look like a defective coin, but to a collector, it's a rare piece worth far more than face value. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more attention it attracts. There are also clip planchet errors, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a cutting issue before the coin was struck. These coins have a distinctive shape and are easy to recognize. Because they are so unusual, they often carry a premium in the collector market. Each one is slightly different, adding to its uniqueness. The proof coins from San Francisco offer a completely different kind of value. These coins were made with extra care, resulting in a mirror-like surface and sharp, detailed design. A 1980 S proof quarter in perfect condition can be quite valuable, especially if it has been preserved without any marks or damage. Perfection in proof coins is rare, and that rarity drives demand. Now let's address the big idea, the dream of a coin being worth millions. It's important to stay grounded. There are no widely recognized cases of a 1980 Washington quarter selling for millions of dollars. Most valuable examples reach into the hundreds or thousands, depending on condition and rarity. The idea of becoming a billionaire overnight from this coin is more fantasy than reality. But here's what makes it exciting. The possibility of finding something rare is real. A high-grade coin, or one with a clear, desirable error, can still bring a surprising amount of money. For many collectors, even finding a coin worth a few $100s is a thrilling discovery. If you have a 1980 quarter, the first step is simple. Look at it closely. Examine the surface, the edges, and the details. Check for anything unusual. A magnifying glass can reveal features that are easy to miss with the naked eye. Small details can make a big difference. One of the biggest mistakes people make is cleaning their coins. It might seem like a good idea, but cleaning can damage the surface and reduce the coin's value. Collectors prefer coins in their natural state, even if they look slightly worn. Preserving the original condition is always the better choice. If you believe your coin might be special, professional grading is worth considering. Experts can determine its condition and identify any rare features. Sometimes a coin that seems ordinary can turn out to be something valuable once it's properly evaluated. The 1980 Washington quarter is not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about realizing that even in something as common as a coin, there can be hidden value waiting to be uncovered. That sense of mystery is what draws people into coin collecting and keeps them searching. So the next time you come across a 1980 quarter, don't rush to spend it. Take a moment to really look at it. Because while most are just everyday coins, a few carry something extra, something rare, something valuable, and something that might just surprise you in ways you never expected. Fifth up, listen closely, because this is where a simple coin begins to feel like a hidden secret. The 1970 Washington quarter might look like nothing more than everyday pocket change, but under the right conditions, it can carry a value far beyond what most people imagine. Not every coin from that year is special, but the rare ones, the ones with the right details, can quietly turn into something collectors truly desire. The Washington quarter had already been part of American life for decades by 1970, proudly featuring George Washington on its design. By that time, the United States Mint was producing millions of these coins for circulation. Philadelphia and Denver handled most of the everyday coins, while San Francisco focused on proof versions made especially for collectors. On the surface, everything about 1970 seems ordinary, but the real story hides in the rare exceptions. Most 1970 quarters you'll ever come across are only worth their face value. They've been used, exchanged, and worn down over years of circulation. Scratches, faded details, and dull surfaces are common, but when a coin from 1970 survives in an almost untouched state, sharp, bright, and nearly flawless, it instantly becomes something rare, because so few remain like that after decades. Condition is one of the strongest forces behind value. A coin that looks freshly minted stands out in a sea of worn examples. Collectors grade coins based on their condition, and the highest grades are extremely difficult to find. A 1970 quarter in top condition can reach values far beyond what most people expect from a 25-cent coin, sometimes climbing into hundreds or even thousands depending on its quality. But the real excitement begins when minting errors enter the picture. These are the unexpected moments during production that create something unique. A slight misalignment, a doubled image, or flaw in a die can turn a normal coin into a rare collectible. These errors are not planned, they are accidents, and that's exactly why they're valuable. A double die coin, where parts of the design appear duplicated, is one of the most talked about errors. It may be subtle, but once noticed, it changes everything about the coin's value. Then there are off-center strikes, where the design is shifted to one side, leaving part of the coin blank. These coins are visually striking and highly collectible. Another fascinating variation is the clip planchet. This happens when the metal blank is cut incorrectly before the coin is struck, leaving a portion missing. These coins have a unique shape and are immediately recognizable. Because they're so different from standard coins, they often attract strong interest from collectors. Proof coins from San Francisco add another layer of value. These coins were made with special care, resulting in a mirror-like finish and extremely sharp details. A 1970 S-proof quarter, especially one that has been perfectly preserved, can be quite valuable. The closer it is to perfection, the more collectors are willing to pay. Now let's address the dream directly. The idea that a 1970 Washington quarter could make you a millionaire overnight is exciting, but it's not realistic. There are no widely recognized examples of a 1970 quarter selling for millions of dollars. Most valuable pieces fall within a range of modest to high collector value, depending on condition and rarity. However, that doesn't mean the coin is insignificant. A rare error coin or a top-grade example can still bring in a surprising amount of money. For many collectors, even finding a coin worth a few $100s is a thrilling discovery. The excitement comes from the possibility, not a guaranteed fortune. If you have a 1970 quarter, take a closer look before spending it. Examine the details under good lighting. Check the edges, the lettering, and the overall appearance. Look for anything unusual or different. Sometimes the smallest detail can make the biggest difference. One important rule is to never clean your coin. Cleaning can damage the surface and reduce its value instantly. Even if the coin looks dull or dirty, its original condition is what collectors care about most. Preserving it as it is will always be the better choice. If you believe your coin might be special, professional grading is worth considering. Experts can evaluate its condition and confirm whether it has any rare features. A coin that seems ordinary at first glance can sometimes reveal hidden value when examined carefully. The story of the 1970 Washington quarter is not about guaranteed wealth. It's about hidden potential. It's about understanding that even a common coin can carry a rare detail that most people overlook. That idea is what makes coin collecting so fascinating and keeps people searching through coins every day. So the next time a 1970 quarter comes into your hands, pause for a moment. Look at it closely. Because while most are just ordinary coins, a rare few carry something more, something unique, something valuable, and something that might just surprise you in ways you never expected. Sixth up, listen carefully, because this is one of those coins that hides its true story behind a very ordinary face. The 1967 Washington quarter looks like just another piece of pocket change, something people would spend without a second thought. But when you slow down and really look at it, you begin to realize that this coin comes from a very unusual moment in history, and that alone gives a special kind of mystery and potential value. The Washington quarter had already been circulating for decades by the time 1967 arrived, carrying the familiar image of George Washington. But 1967 was not a normal year for coins in the United States. During that period, the country was dealing with a coin shortage, and the government took unusual steps to keep coins flowing in everyday transactions. One of those steps changed how coins were made, and that change is what makes 1967 quarters so interesting today. In 1967, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks from coins entirely. That means no matter where a 1967 quarter was produced, it carries no letter to show its origin. This decision was meant to discourage coin hoarding at the time, but today it creates a unique identity for all 1967 quarters. Every single one looks the same in that regard, which adds a layer of intrigue when collectors study them. Another important detail is the metal composition. By 1967, quarters were no longer made from silver. Instead, they were struck using a copper-nickel-clad composition, giving them a different appearance and feel compared to older silver coins. This means a 1967 quarter doesn't carry intrinsic silver value, but its worth comes from condition and rarity rather than metal content. Now, here's the reality. Most 1967 quarters are still only worth their face value. They were produced in very large numbers, and many are still easy to find today. But as always in coin collecting, the story changes when you look at condition. A coin that has survived decades without wear, scratches, or damage becomes something rare. A high-grade 1967 quarter, with sharp details and strong original shine, can reach values far beyond what most people expect. Condition alone can transform this coin. The difference between a worn coin and a nearly perfect one is massive in terms of value. Collectors search for coins that look as if they just left the mint, and because most 1967 quarters were heavily used, finding one in that state is extremely difficult. That rarity is what drives higher prices. But the real excitement begins with mint errors. These are the moments when something goes slightly wrong during production, creating a coin that stands out from the rest. A double design, where the image appears slightly repeated, can make a 1967 quarter far more valuable. These details are often subtle, but they completely change how collectors see the coin. Off-center strikes are another type of error that attract attention. When the coin is not properly aligned during striking, part of the design may be missing or shifted. These coins look unusual and immediately stand apart from standard pieces. The more dramatic the error, the more interest it generates. Clip planchets also exist for this year. These coins of a portion, missing due to an issue during the cutting process before the coin was struck. Their unique shape makes them easy to recognize, and collectors often value them for their rarity and distinct appearance. Now let's address the biggest idea, the dream of a coin being worth millions. It's important to be honest here. There are no widely accepted records of a 1967 Washington quarter selling for millions of dollars. The idea of becoming a billionaire overnight from this specific coin is more fantasy than fact. Most valuable examples reach into the hundreds or, in rare cases, thousands of dollars depending on condition and errors. But that doesn't mean the coin has no power. The real value lies in its potential. A rare error or an exceptionally high-grade coin can still bring a surprising amount of money, and the possibility of discovering such a coin in everyday life is what makes the search exciting. If you have a 1967 quarter, take a moment to examine it closely. Look at the details, the edges, and the overall surface. Use good lighting and, if possible, a magnifying glass. Small differences can reveal whether your coin is ordinary or something more. One crucial thing to remember is never to clean your coin. Cleaning might seem like a good idea, but it actually damages the surface and reduces its value. Collectors prefer coins in their natural condition, even if they show signs of age. If you believe your coin might be special, having it professionally graded can reveal its true worth. Experts can identify rare features and assign a grade that reflects its condition. Sometimes a coin that seems normal can turn out to be far more valuable than expected. The 1967 Washington quarter is not just about money. It's about history, mystery, and hidden potential. It represents a unique moment when the rules of coin production change, leaving behind a coin that still sparks curiosity today. So the next time a 1967 quarter finds its way into your hand, don't rush to spend it. Pause, look closer, and think about what it might be. Because while most are just ordinary coins, a rare few carry something extra, something valuable, something unique, and something that might just surprise you when you least expect it. Seventh up, listen carefully, because this is where an ordinary coin begins to feel like a hidden opportunity. The 1984 Washington quarter might look like something you would spend without a second thought, but under the right conditions, it can carry a value that surprises even experienced collectors. Not every 1984 quarter is special, but the rare ones, the ones with the right details, can quietly turn into something far more valuable than their simple face value. The Washington quarter had already built a strong legacy by 1984, featuring the iconic image of George Washington. That year, millions of quarters were produced across different mints, mainly Philadelphia and Denver for circulation, and San Francisco for proof coins. With such a large number created, most 1984 quarters remain common today. But hidden within that massive production are a few coins that stand out, and those are the ones collectors search for. At first glance, a typical 1984 quarter is only worth 25 cents. It has likely been used, scratched, and worn down over time. But when you find one that has survived in nearly perfect condition, sharp details, strong shine, and no visible wear, it becomes something rare. Time is the biggest enemy of coins, and very few escape decades of use without damage. That's why high-condition coins carry a premium. Condition plays a powerful role in determining value. Coins are graded based on how close they are to perfection, and the highest grades are extremely difficult to achieve. A 1984 quarter in top mint state condition can be worth far more than most people expect. The difference between an average coin and a near-perfect one can mean the difference between cents and hundreds of dollars. Now here's where things get exciting: mint errors. These are the true hidden treasures. During the minting process, small mistakes can occur, and those mistakes can transform an ordinary coin into a collectible piece. A double die error, where parts of the design appear slightly duplicated, is one of the most desirable types. It may be subtle, but it can dramatically increase value. Off-center strikes are another fascinating error. These occur when the coin is not properly aligned during production, causing the design to shift to one side. The result is a coin that looks unusual and immediately stands out. The more off-center it is while still showing the date, the more collectors tend to value it. Clip planchet errors also appear from time to time. In these cases, part of the coin is missing because the metal blank was not cut correctly before striking. These coins have a distinct shape and are easy to recognize. Their uniqueness makes them attractive to collectors who look for something different. Proof coins from San Francisco add another layer to the story. These coins were made with extra care, giving them a mirror-like surface and sharp, detailed features. A 1984 S-proof quarter in near-perfect condition can be quite valuable, especially if it has been preserved without any marks. Perfection in proof coins is rare, and that rarity increases demand. Now let's talk about the big claim, the idea that a 1984 quarter could be worth millions or make you a billionaire overnight. The honest truth is that this is extremely unlikely. There are no well-known, verified cases of a 1984 Washington quarter reaching millions of dollars. Most valuable examples range from modest collector value up to hundreds, or, in rare high-grade cases, thousands. But that doesn't mean the coin has no power. The real excitement lies in the possibility of discovering a rare version. A high-grade coin, or one with a clear mint error, can still bring in a surprising amount of money. For collectors, even finding a coin with a few $100s is a thrilling moment. If you have a 1984 quarter, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look. Examine the surface, the edges, and the fine details. Look for anything unusual, extra lines, missing parts, or strange shapes. A magnifying glass can help you notice features that are easy to miss. One important rule you should always follow is never to clean your coin. Cleaning might seem like a way to improve its appearance, but it actually damages the surface and reduces its value. Collectors prefer coins in their natural state, even if they show signs of age. If you believe your coin might be special, professional grading is the next step. Experts can evaluate its condition and identify any rare characteristics. Sometimes a coin that looks ordinary can turn out to be far more valuable once it is properly examined. The 1984 Washington quarter is not just about money. It's about hidden potential. It's about understanding that even something as common as a quarter can carry a rare detail that most people overlook. That idea is what keeps collectors searching through coins every single day. So the next time a 1984 quarter lands in your hand, pause for a moment. Look at it carefully. Because while most are just everyday coins, a rare few carry something extra, something valuable something unique, and something that might just surprise you when you least expect it.